My other music moment is the final scene and the battle between Vecna and 11 and Vecna's explanation of his backstory to Nancy. We're getting opera tracks from American composer called Philip Glass, who his prime was in the 80s. So this is 80s music, 80s opera music.
Okay.
The tracks are from Akhenaten, a 1983 opera. So it's not the not the Dixon Stein score, nor is it a famous 80s track opera. And why this opera? It just feels weird that we would go for this one. But looking at the plot of this opera, Akhenaten, Akhenaten is a real historical figure, an Egyptian pharaoh in the 1400 BC, and he's the earliest recorded person who said, we're going to go with one God. This is before Christianity, 1400 years before Christianity. This is before Judaism, all the major religions. He scrubs Egypt of everything, all their other gods. He starts a new capital. He forces monotheism on all his people. Wow. And for this, he is overthrown. He is overthrown by his son, King Tut. FYI.
Wow.
Ever heard of him? But that plot feels very like Vecna, because Vecna is basically saying, like, no one else sees it, and I'm going to force everybody to believe it. And you could see how Akhenaten would be kind of a hero for Vecna, Henry Creel I, because he did see the future. Monotheism became the dominant, human civilization after this. So this opera just builds and builds and builds. There's actually an early track, which I didn't even grab. It's just one of the instrumental patches from the same opera. The one you're going to recognize is called Prophecies, and it starts off with bells, which very much remind me of a clock. And that just kind of builds. It's actually kind of on a loop, with that. And it goes longer than the instrumental part probably actually does on the track. We don't really hear what we plebeians would call like the truly operatic high voices until Vecna says, "You are better than they are" line, when he just truly lays it out on the line, which, by the way, is 9 minutes into an 11-minute speech, and we finally get the operatic part of that track. And remember, I don't know what they're saying, but remember, this is all about you must bow down to one God. You have worshipped all these gods. You must now bow down to one. That's the plot of this play, of this opera. And my favorite part really about all this, to tell you the truth, as 11 has her bones, possibly snap, we see it goes silent. She sees her mom. The birth is completely silent there. There's no music. And as she makes the switch over to getting the power, the force powers are now hers, and she's in control. She's about to blast, Vecna back against the wall. There's no music there either. It's just the high-pitched, squealing, and there's some crunching, a struggle for force power. We've gone 14 minutes without anything close to the Dixon Stein Stranger Things. Vecna has taken over the iPod. He's the one playing. We have to listen to opera, man. And we're just in this weird world that we haven't been in, this weird soundscape that we're not used to. But as 11 takes over, and the silence goes, and the pulsing goes, and she lands on the ground, and it's fully little 11. That's when we get our friends back. The synths, the beeps, the blurs, the dusty analog nostalgia, our main riff, the theme that every show, we close with this theme. To quote Dustin 4 years after this, "Yeah, you better run. She'll kill you. You hear me, you sons of bitches? She's our friend, and she'll kill you!" Season 1
is back in the game.
and back in business, buddy.
Oh, man. Oh.
It is the track from Season 1 that we talked about so much. It's She'll Kill You. You hear me, you sons of bitches.
Everything about this episode is just bringing us back to Season 1. I love it.
But
the music especially.
It just hits so hard because we've been without the synths. We've been without everything for so long while we listen to this windbag talk. And we're listening to, opera and stuff. And when we get our synths back, it is just victorious.
Stranger Things is back.